Hello everyone and welcome to our factory. And for today's live session, as Nicolas mentioned, and he helped me to make the introduction to our factory, our company. After the whole presentation, there will be a space to answer your questions. I would like to try to go over whole machine, all possible questions you might have, but always there might be a question. So first of all, my name is Patrick. I'm sales rep. I'm colleague of Nicolas, Adam, Dominika, and we are developing our products all around the world. We have a lot of people here connected today, some from US, some from Latin America, and India, all around the world. I would like to welcome you in our factory in Slovakia. Slovakia, as some of you know, it's in Central Europe. Here is our main warehouse. Here are our main warehouses, R&D team, and right now we are in a place where all Elise are mounted together, and we will be showing our all models. So most of you are probably aware that we are offering 3 types of products. We have Elise with standard battery, Elise with extended battery, and then MiniZ. The difference is, as you will see, in batteries, in the size, in the lifting capacity. I know that some of you use imperial units, some metrics, so I will try always to speak in both units, and so you will understand. So let's start with the Elise, which is our first model. Something very short to the history. Elise came on mind to our engineers in 2014. In 2016, they started developing first prototypes and testing. They've been testing Elise for 2 up to 3 years until they come to the market. The first biggest presentation was in Bauma 2019, where we presented our machine. At the time, we had only Elise with standard battery. Then we developed last year Elise with extended battery because we felt and we saw that there is a higher demand for longer running time and also for higher lifting capacity. And also last year we developed MiniZ, which is the smallest one, and that's most likely because we wanted something smaller, something compact, and maybe a little bit more affordable, so people can have it. We will start today, and as you can see, here are some Elise that are ready for our customers. We can see here, we will see 3 Elise with extended battery, and then I will show you also the gearboxes, the chargers, the batteries, the motors, the construction or the body of the Elise without components. And we will show you also how to connect, how to operate. So it will be like small training for the new dealers who already have the machines, or it will be just a presentation to see how super simple are the machines to operate, to maintain, and to take care of. So let's start with Elise 900 with the extended battery. I will start from the bottom. As you can see, the difference when you saw the standard model is that with the extended battery you have the bag. It's very similar to a diesel skid steers, which have in this part diesel engines. We don't have engines there, we don't have motors even there is only battery. We use lead acid batteries, that's the main difference, and the batteries are situated in the middle at the bottom of the machine, and the extended also the bag is longer because the battery is coming out of the machine. Some people are asking about the clearance, some people are asking if this will somehow affect my stability of the machine, how it will affect the running time, and also the tilting points. So the only difference is that with the extended battery, you are able to lift 3,000 pounds or 1,400 kilograms. The other difference is that, as you know, some of you, the tilting points are really great. The side tilt point is 47 degrees, and this stands also with the extended battery. Only difference is if you are going uphill or downhill, you decrease the capability of going uphill or downhill with the empty bucket, because you will tilt the machine to the back and you will hit the ground with the back of the machine. But you don't need to worry, because there is a steel which is 7mm thin, which is quite nice and is protecting the battery. With the standard Elise or with the standard battery, you are getting rid of the extended part, and you have better clearance, and you can go over obstacles or some parts where you can't go with the extended battery. Another advantage of Elise is the chassis clearance height. The chassis clearance height is 26 centimeters or 11 inches. Another advantage of Elise is that each wheel is powered by gearbox Reggiana. It's from Italy, and each wheel has each has a gearbox. We use two motors for drive, so the two motors are in the front. They are directly connected to the gearboxes to the front wheels, and they are distributing the power from the front to the back through the rubber tube belt. Everything in the machine is designed to last long. It means, for example, with the rubber tube belt is designed for 500 Newton meters, and we only need 120 Newton meters. So if something happens to rubber tube belt, it can happen due to weather, or something is wet or something occurs, you can easily change the rubber tube belt. The price for the rubber tube belt is probably 10 to 15 euros, so it's quite cheap and easy to replace. Another big advantage of Elise is that Elise is built as a Lego. So each component can be replaced very easily, and we used only 20% of welds and 80% are bolts. This is due to great flexibility. If you know, like Eiffel Tower, airplanes, they use also bolts because they are very flexible, they can flex and they can come back. With the welds, you have the troubles that if weld crack, you have to change all part and you have to do it again. With our Elise, if something breaks or something destroys, or you like to have always clean and nice machine, you can just replace one part with another part. If you are going here, you can see the cabin. Cabin is FOBS ROBS certified. It's certified to work and to protect the operator up to 5 tons over tilting. The cabin has 4 windows. You have one emergency window at the back. You have 2 windows on the sides and the top window. The top window is made from carbon fibers, and that's because it's special protective glass and is used also in the planes. So we don't need and we don't use a cage on the top because the glass should protect the operator's legs. As you can see on the top, we use classic orange beacon. We have rear parking camera and horn. Another advantage of Elise is the hinge pin height, and here we are talking about 3.6 meters or 12 feet. 12 feet, yes, sorry. So, and that gives you great capability to load very high. If you use pallet force, or in Europe when you have 8-wheel trucks, you can easily load them. Like with the conventional other diesel skid steer, you may have some troubles. Let's come closer and have a look at the inside of the Elise, where are the hydraulics. You can easily open the back cover of the Elise. Here you can see it's installed Hopeke battery. We will talk about the battery later. You can see NEMA 160 plug, which is already plugged from the battery to the machine. And you can see inside of hydraulics. This is all we have. We use Danfoss. Danfoss is Danish brand, is well-known brand. It's used in many machines. Here is hydraulic divider and hydraulic pump, hydraulic hoses, and the hydraulic oil filter. Hydraulic oil filter can be replaced very easily. You have also indicator which is showing you the dirtiness of the filter or oil. We recommend to change it after first 50 hours and then each 500 hours. But you can always check on your machine on the side. If you go here, maybe you saw this small glass, you can see that the oil is clean and you can see the level of the oil. So you can check it from outside. If you need, you can open the back cover and you can check it from inside. Also, we added to hydraulics a special stick which will release the pressure of the hydraulic system. This is due to if you leave the machines outside on the sun, there can be much higher pressure and you may have difficulties to attach some attachments. So if you have some difficulty like this, you can easily release the tension. And then we also develop a special upgrade. If you are a smaller or not that stronger guy, you might have troubles to adapt or to connect the hoses. So we adapt also a special stick. It's not here, but it's pre-built, and you can easily just connect the hose and with small pull just connect it. So it's very easy and very simple. We try to simplify everything and to make it very customer friendly and user experience. This is basically all of the bag. It's very simple, very easy. Here we can see that there is a hot packet charger, and you see maybe more hoses than is normal, and that's because there are two cables for the power and one small hose which is delivering the hot air to hot packet battery during the charging. You can also see another hose here. This one is for distilled water. If you probably know, all you know, lead acid batteries need refilling of the distilled water. So this needs to be done once a week or based on the indicators which will show you when to change. We'll open it. So here you can see the standard battery. With the standard battery also the hot packet will have the same. You see green light flashing. There are three colors of the light. You have green, orange and red. Green means that now the battery is refilled with the water and is ready to operate or ready to go. If you will see the orange, it means that you need probably to refill the battery with the water. If you see red, it means you have to immediately refill the battery with the water. The process is very easy. I will show you later. So now we are in the front of the machine. Many of you are asking if we are able to use attachments for different brands. Yes, we are. We use Euro couplers, so it means you can attach attachments from Bobcat, Caterpillar or other brands you already have. Very easy. You just lock the locks and you can operate. Another option in Elise, and this was done last year, was that we have the offer, or we have the opportunity to choose the cylinders. Most of the time we are mounting the smaller cylinders. They are delivering faster reaction to your boom, to attachments, to lifting, and or there is also option for bigger cylinders which are more robust and stronger. These small cylinders we recommend to use when you have a farm or you know that you are not lifting heavy materials and you know that you need faster movement. With the bigger cylinders, we recommend them for demolition, for construction, or for the places where you know that they will be under strong pressure or big pressure, so you need something stronger. The cabins are standardized. You have several safety features, like you have open door sensor, which is an option. Then you have operator seat sensor. The sensor is activated when operator is sitting on the seat. Then you have also ignition, which needs to be turned on, and then you have also start button on the joystick. After you did all of this, the cell phone or the app that we are using for operating Elise will bring a message that you did all the steps and that you are ready to operate the machine. This is because we want to protect operators, dealers and ourselves from any unnecessary issues or dangerous situations that might occur. As for right now, we are using heavy-duty phone holder and heavy-duty phone. This phone has 10,000 milliamp hour battery, which means that it can last 7 to 10 days. The phone doesn't require any SIM card or service, and the only connection to internet you need when you are first connecting to the machine. Here you can see dashboard for the operator. It's very nice. You can also choose the modes. Now we have dark mode. It's showing you the number of Elise you have, the hours on Elise, it's showing you the battery capacity, and also on the left and right side you can see if or what level of speed for drive or for hydraulics are you using. Now you can see the hydraulics is locked, now it's turned on, and the operator can use the full speed of the hydraulics. The same with the drive. It's also showing you what part of Elise is activated. You can see on this picture. If you lock it, you can see that the boom lost the colors. If you activate it, it will gain the colors. So you know what it's on. Also all other features like wind whipper or the lights can be turned here. Then we have an option, here is your garage. We have an option for in-cabin mode, remote mode. So you can always choose what you need, what you prefer. So these are the basic of the machine. It's very simple, it's basically all I could show you right now. The daily basis or daily maintenance is only to lubricate the pins, which are marked with these small red caps, and to check the tires, the rims, the wheels, and once a week, once a month to check the bolts. But that's the very common and very normal usual maintaining of the machine. Here on the right you can see almost all the options of the batteries we have. We have a lot of questions regarding the batteries. We use, here you can see the extended battery from Hopeke, from German manufacturer. Here you can see the batteries from Hungary, from JC Plastic. This battery is uncovered right now, and that's because I want to show you later on the cells and how the battery looks inside. Here you can see the smallest battery. This battery is for MiniZ. It's also Hopeke smart battery. At the back you can see the star charger, which is 3-phase charger. All our chargers are coming also with the canisters for distilled water. The canister can be placed on the top of the charger, and during the charging process you can easily connect the hoses like this one to the canister, and you just wait until it's refilled. When the water is refilled, it will stop automatically. You don't need to do anything. The same with the charging process. It will recharge automatically. It will show you the status of the battery, if anything is wrong with the battery, and also there is emergency stop of the battery, of the charging process. The batteries are smart. It means the battery or the machine can be, or the battery can be plugged to the charger for several weeks, and you don't need to take care of it. It will just keep warm the electrolyte, it will just keep clean the electrolyte, and it won't consume any power or energy from your outlet. So it's very efficient. It's very, we also recommend it during the winter times, that you will have always connected Elise to the charger, because it will keep warm the battery. And then if you go outside, so other places from 30 degrees Celsius, 80 Fahrenheit or 70, outside to 10 Fahrenheit or minus Celsius, it will be always, the battery will be always warm, and you won't lose any energy from the battery. As you can see, the standard battery is 240 ampere hours or 24 kilowatts. It means you have here 48 cells. Each cell is connected. As you can see, each cell is separate. You can each cell control. You can each cell replace, recycle, remove, or see what happened to the cell if there is any issue with the battery. The batteries are very easy to maintain, very easy to repair. The maintaining of the battery is only that you have to always, after a whole day of work, or when the battery is empty, you have to always recharge the battery to 100%. You can do partial charging also on Hopeke or standard battery, but with the difference that the Hopeke battery, they have a special pump for hot air, and the hot air is circulating inside of the electrolyte, inside of the cells. It's keeping warm the battery, so also the charging process is probably 10% faster, and is also helping you not to destroy the electrolyte that fast, drain the power from electrolyte. But the thing is that also with the classic JC plastic battery, you can do the partial charging, but you have to always recharge the battery to 100%. The same stands with the hot-picky batteries. Batteries have different options for the charging. Hot-picky batteries are always coming with the hot-picky chargers. They have small displays and they look like this. They are green, and as you can see, they have here the hose for connecting the hot air and filling the battery with the hot air. This charger is for MiniZ, this one too, and this too. But as some of you know, especially in America or in places that you don't have access to three-phase charging options, then we recommend to use Z1 charger, which can charge your machine, even Elise or MiniZ, from single phase with the same or similar speed as the three-phase chargers. We are always sending Z1 chargers as a set. It means that you receive 2 chargers, so the charging time is with the standard battery up to 5 hours, and with the extended battery it can be up to 8-9 hours. It depends on your power what you have. Here is TL equalizer. This charger is only for MiniZ, and this charges MiniZ is 48 volts, Elise is 96 volts. With the extended battery we have 400 amps and 40 kilowatts. It means that you are getting longer running time and higher lifting capacity. With the standard battery, if you use standard bucket and you are driving around, moving some mud or some materials around, your battery or your machine should work or last for 5 to 7 hours, maybe up to 8. We had some customers that ran the machine for 8 hours with the standard battery. With the extended battery, you can easily get 8+ hours. This is big difference, and also another difference between the batteries is that small or standard batteries are hot swappable, and hot-pack or the extended battery, they are not hot swappable, and that's because you are losing the capability of easy open of the back of the rear of the machine and just swap the battery like some of you saw on the videos within 5 minutes. You can switch also the extended battery, but it may take you up to 30 minutes up to 60 minutes. It really depends on the tools you have and where are you doing, and also how your operator or somebody who is changing the battery is experienced and trained. Same with the MiniZ. MiniZ doesn't have and we doesn't offer for MiniZ hot swappable batteries. The battery is the same like with the extended battery, is hard mounted, but you can always replace the battery if you need, if something happens, so you can replace it, but it will take you again 30 to 60 minutes. As I mentioned, we have 3-phase and single phase. 3-phase difference is that in Europe we can charge from 3-phase, in US or other parts of the world it depends on the buildings and on the power they have, so it's really up to you or your customers what they need or what they choose. Single phase can be charged from 90 up to 280 volt, and the 3-phase is 380 up to 420. Here we have the smallest machine, but not the weakest machine. It's quite powerful, it's strong. This is MiniZ. So we took everything we learned on Elise in the past years and all our experiences. So we took how the motors are situated, and we took all 3 motors from Elise and put it also 3 motors to MiniZ, but smaller one. We found out that how the battery is positioned inside of the Elise is great, so we took it and we put it also in the MiniZ. The construction is also as a minimum weld. There is only, again, 20% of weld, 80% of bolts. So this makes the machine very flexible, and you can do a lot of demolition, a lot of strong hittings, and really it's powerful machine, believe me. So I will open the front hood so you can see the machine. Always when you want to start the machine you have to open the front hood. This is also for the safety reasons, because if you turn on the machine here with the ignition up somewhere here, you won't see what you can see here. If you turn on the ignition, you have here 2 things. First one is this green light. This is showing you if everything is alright or not. If something is bad, it will be flashing. You have a small display That's showing you the level of battery. It's showing you how many hours it has, and it's showing you if there is any error message. It will show it to you here. So it's always important to see it before you operate, because you can find out what battery level you have or if there is any error. Again, the system and the plugs are the same like for the Elise. We use NEMA 160 plugs. Here you can see the KOVACO battery connected to the machine. So the machine is ready to use. Now it's turned on. The difference between Elise and MiniZ is also in the operating. With the MiniZ, we use only and we offer only professional remote control. With the Elise, you can choose. You can have your cell phone or our cell phone, or you can have a professional remote control. It's really up to you for what kind of or what type of work you need the machines. So for the Elise, the remote control looks very similar. You have two joysticks. You have emergency stop, and you can change the speed and also the aux. This is also great advantage if you had chance to operate on Sherpa, for example. You need to hold the button always when you want to run the attachment, and then you have to somehow with fingers operate. With the MiniZ, you just turn it on, and the attachment will run continuously, and you can just use your joysticks for moving the machine. MiniZ is also you have also option to walk behind, or you can just choose to operate it remotely. It's really up to you what you choose. All our machines have a GPS modules and also special computers that they are checking the status of the machine. You can, if you connect to your account, which we can create to you, if you are owner, you can see where is your machine, if it is running, if it is turned off. You can see if somebody is moving the machine on trailer, or how he was working that day. You can see the battery level and many other. We will be adding. This is also for us because we are collecting the data from all of our machines, because we want to improve all the performance from our machines. So it's very important, necessary for us to know what is happening to the machines and how they are behaving. Now I will show you the cabins, the gearbox, and the Elise without anything, empty construction, only with empty skeleton, empty only with the motors. As you can see, all machines are for right now made by hand, which is great. Some of you might think that we are not able to fully fill all the needs because the assembling takes too long. 2 people or 3 people can assemble whole machine during one day, during one working day. That's because it's very simple, it's a Lego system, and if you have all the components, all the tools, within 8 hours you can have built your own Elise. Here you can see the empty skeleton or empty construction of the machine. Here you can see is the hydraulics, which is above the battery. You can see the electric motor, which is powering only hydraulics, and then we have 2 motors in front, how I mentioned. They are powering the drive. They will be directly connected to the gearboxes. You can see gearboxes over there. They are prepared to be mounted. Gearboxes consist also of brakes, which are electronic, and there is also emergency brake that is we are using during the transport of the Elise. Here you can see steel plates that are helping you to, if you are doing hop swap of the battery, they are helping you to bring the battery to the right position, so it's fixed. You can see empty sides of the machine. Here will be the rubber tube belt, as you can see. So the access to it is very easy. If you pull out the battery, you can easily gain the access to the rubber tube belt. This part will be covered, and behind this part you can see electronic switches, computers, and fuses, and so on. So here is everything that is powering the software that is delivering what the machine should do. You see that we are missing the cabin, so cabins is here. Fobs ropes, as I mentioned, you have two joystick or two, or you can have one-handed or two-handed operating. You can set it up in your phone app. It's really up to you. You don't need to use your legs. They can rest during the work because we don't use any pedals. Another advantage why we are using 3 motors is because other brands are using one bigger electric motor to power whole hydraulics to make turns. So as you probably saw, we don't use hydraulics for drive. We use electric motors for drive. So we are saving some energy on the hydraulics where you can lose a lot of energy. So if you are only driving, you are using only 2 motors which have nominal power of 10 kilowatts. In maximum power they can bring 30 kilowatts each. If you are using some other attachments, they require hydraulic oil flow, then you use only 1 motor for it. For example, if you are using a boom, you are driving quite slow, so the most of power is taking the electric motor for the hydraulics. These 2 ones are a little bit resting and saving your energy. The same with the turns. Each motor is controlling each side, so that's why also your tires will last longer with Elise, because the machine is not drifting that fast, so it's not destroying the tires. Another advantage is also the recuperation. It means with the diesel one, if you stop, if you don't push the pedal, the machine will stop automatically because you cut the energy from the power from the hydraulics. With the electric motors, they have recuperation, so they will slow down easier. So it won't hit you, and it's not again destroying the tires, it's not destroying the rubber tube belt, it's again trying to save the machine and the operator. So that's very briefly about the machines. We can maybe show you also back of this machine, which is without the standard battery, and will be with standard battery. This is machine that is waiting to connect some connectors, so you can see how easily you can have access into already built machine. If somebody needs to replace the brakes or rubber tube belt, you can easily go from this side, or we can tilt in front the cabin. We will show you. You can see it's quite easy. Just 2 of us open the whole machine. Now we can go inside. So this is all. Here you can see there is almost nothing. You can see only the battery, the 2 motors I already showed you, the heating or AC will be built here. You have the electric motor for the hydraulics, access to the hydraulics, and you have also access to the side of the machine. Now there is a battery, so access is more difficult, but if we remove the battery, the access is quite easy and you can easily replace what you need. So now our operator, one of the main engineers who is behind all the software and electric parts, will show you how you can easily also operate remotely, because that's the most common question, to see the remote control. And as Nicholas mentioned, it's a great if you have a fleet. Now we can, for example, if he has an account, we can use his account and we can connect or put in his garage all 3 machines plus MiniZ. So he has the main control and he is the only person who can connect. For example, if you are renting the machine, you can choose to whom you will gain the access. So it means our engineer can choose he wants to gain the access to me. I will send him my email address, he will create me an account, and I can connect to the specific machine and I can operate. He can also check, and that's very good for you. You can check who was operating the machine, if something happened, occurs, where the machine is, who was last connected to the machine, and who was lastly operating the machine during something happened. So it's really great for the fleet management, for you, for rental businesses, and also if you use machines in somewhere outside, there is always the GPS module that even though there is no battery inside of the machine, it's communicating with us and or you as owners, and you can see what's happening to the machine. Also, this was added to our distribution agreement. that we are collecting data from the Elise. It's not because we want to watch you, but we want to protect you and we want to improve and innovate our products. And we need to collect as much as possible data so we can check and we can do the upgrades. How some of you already know that we are capable of great things if we are working together with you, and if you give us some feedback and tell us what's important for your market to sell. Maybe another thing, I remember that I had several questions regarding the frame. You can see that here now we have this kind of protection or holders, but in the future we are already waiting for new cabins. There will be another in the middle, so it will be easier for you to close the doors or to hold if you are falling out. But you should never fall out, because you have to always be fastened and you have to be always seated. And if you fall down, there is the sensor, as I mentioned, and the sensor is for 80 pounds or 40 kilogram plus. So it means if children or dog or somebody will sit and it's not too heavy, it doesn't have the weight, it won't run. Also, if you jump out or if you fall down, if you are not fastened, the machine will stop automatically because it's not feeling the operator in the seat. Another thing maybe for Europe is that we have homologization for all our machines. It means you can run them on the roads, you can get the plate at the back, and you can use them and drive them around. The weight, total weight of the Elise with extended battery is 3.8 tons, and with the standard battery is 3.3 tons.
Sorry, Patrick, I've just been looking at a couple of the questions which might be beneficial for everybody, just with regards to the tracks.
Okay, yes, that was my next
Dan,
one.
you asked that question. We do have a track system which Patrick can explain to us.
Yeah, so we use OTT tracks. They are coming on the wheels. We don't have a model which is coming with only with the tracks. All our machines are coming with the tires. Right now we added the option for rubber filled tires. We have also flat tires, and we can also add more narrow tires if you need to access narrow places. The tracks we are offering are rubber or steel, and as I mentioned, they are coming on the wheel. The advantage of these tracks is that if you lose tracks on side, because that can happen, you lose just one side probably, so you can still use the other side and you can still use four-wheel drive here on the left side, so you are still protected and you can still move the machine. Another thing is that the tracks, they might lose or they might drown the battery a little bit faster, and that's because they are quite heavy. They weigh 250 kilograms up to 550 pounds, so they will bring more weight to your machine, so it will be not that fast as it is without them.
And while you're standing there, it's a fairly pertinent question in terms of depth of water that we can go into.
So all our batteries, they have IP55 protection. It's not that big. It means that they can be cleaned by the hoses, but not for a long time. So you can go into the water, but not deep, maybe like here, just for a few seconds if there is need for it. But we don't recommend it like with any other skid steers. In the future, we are now working on the lithium batteries. They will have higher protection, so they can go under water, but for very short time. We had some demands from companies that they are digging tunnels, and there is a lot of water, so they are working under the water. Yes, we can do a special upgrade of Elise that will help and protect the Elise from the water, and you will be able to operate Elise in the water.
I'm just going through a couple of the questions here that might be easy to answer. I think, Mr. Pavez, we answered the question on the lithium. It's something that we're working on and hope to have available in the very near future, near future being months rather than years. How are the engines protected from water? Well, they're not.
They are only
they're quite high up.
Yeah, the connectors are protected, and also the motors, but also again you can clean them with the hoses. You can put them under the water for a few seconds, but it's not recommended. It's only in emergency cases. So if you go under the water, the power won't hit you from the motors, and also they will run for some time, but please don't do that. Here you can see the MiniZ. You can see how quiet it is. A lot of you is asking to see some video or MiniZ how it's working without any music in background. Still you can hear some sounds, and that's because it's a working machine, so it needs to make some sounds, so you will be protected and you can hear it coming. Maybe to mention, MiniZ has a lifting capacity of 400 kilograms, which is up to 900 pounds. MiniZ is coming only with the tracks. Right now we are offering rubber tracks. We have also non-marking tracks in offer, so you have to really ask your sales rep what do you need or what do you demand.
We have a question regarding heat and cooling systems for the hydraulics and the batteries. If you'd like to just comment on that.
Yes. So the heat for the batteries and also cold for the batteries, it's the same like in your car. So if there is up to 40-45 degrees Celsius outside, it's still fine. Even up to 50 Celsius outside, you are still fine. Also with the freeze, it's the same. You can go to -20. It's the same like with the car. If the battery is already heated, it's still working and it will be working. With the hydraulics, we don't have a high flow, and we don't use that much hydraulics. So the hydraulics are cooled by air, and it's never overheated. It never happened to us. We did several testings up to 50 to 60 Celsius. Up to 100 Fahrenheit, and it was running great. During the winters it needs to warm up, and then it's fine. If it's not warm up, it's the same like the diesel. It will lag.
And in the MiniZ, I know when it comes to hydraulic temperatures as well, I think the original prototype had a smaller hydraulic oil reserve, which did show some issues with heat. And the solution was very simple. Rather than add a complex cooling system, we doubled the size and the capacity of the hydraulic oil reservoir. So we basically doubled the volume, which solved the problem completely. So we haven't had any further issues with that, not having cooling systems on it.
And also maybe back to the lithium batteries, I forgot to mention. Some of you are asking, okay, I will buy a machine today, and in 2 years there will be a good price for the lithium battery. Can I use the lithium battery? Yes, you can. All machine is built for 96 volts, so it means also the lithium batteries will be built for 96 volts. So you can easily just replace the lead-acid battery and reconnect with the lithium battery. You will only need to buy a new charger for the lithium batteries. That's the only difference. Also with the lithium batteries, as some of you know, they are lighter than the lead-acid batteries, so there will be added some counterweight, but this will be dealt later on when we will finally have final lithium battery for our product that will have good price, favorable price, reasonable price for you, and it will be running and gaining more power, delivering more power for us.
Battery life, and this is not unique to KOVACO. This is a standard issues with all batteries, regardless if it's in a car or an aircraft or a skid steer. There's massive variabilities dependent on conditions and use, and that's not a get out of jail free card. It's impossible to test accurately times at minus 25 degrees. Mr. Simasa, you've asked this question. Obviously, there'll be a reduction in power at colder temperatures. That's a known thing with batteries. However, it will still depend greatly on what you're actually doing with the machine, how it's being used, how the battery is being maintained. There's a lot of other variables that just come than just saying, yes, the battery will last for 5 hours or 6 hours, or it will lose 25%. I wish it was as simple as saying that, but it's not. What I can say when it comes to battery life, because this is obviously a big question that people come up with when it comes to battery-operated machines, and everybody's facing similar challenges, is that when KOVACO says that the machines will operate up to 6 or 7 hours, that's a lowball estimate. We found consistently that our estimates of how long the battery lasts are generally on the lower end of the scale than the higher end of the scale, which I can't say for a lot of other people in the electric industry. They tend to over-exaggerate things a little bit. That's not the case with us. And the second point to make is battery density and battery technologies are already rapidly expanding. And the newer generation of lithium batteries and future battery technologies are offering even greater battery density. So it's going to be less and less of an issue as time goes on, and it will really be coming down to things like how is the machine built? How does it operate? It's not really a power issue anymore with batteries, and we're already at that stage. We have a test, Elise, which is just outside where Patrick is standing now, uses the standard 240 amp hour battery, and it's actually used. It's not a toy. It's actually used around the factory all the time.
Yes.
And we are getting the claimed hours of operation, and it's not babied, this machine. It is used properly. So I'm sorry I can't answer these questions so specifically when it comes to battery life. What I can tell you is that the average run times are pretty accurate.
Yes.
And in the case of a battery not meeting an end user's needs, it's a very simple solution of adding batteries to their stock. So if somebody wants to use the machine in 3 8-hour shifts, say a mine, well then you'd need to purchase sufficient batteries to swap the batteries over, and you can use the machine 24 hours a day. So if your business or your customer's business requires that level, then you'd have to do that, and which is no different from a diesel machine and having to have stores of diesel in a tank somewhere. There's an infrastructure that goes behind these things.
That's correct.
I hope that's answered some of the battery questions.
Yes. Maybe I forgot it also to show you again the cells. A lot of you, or especially dealers, they are asking how to maintain the battery. So it is lead-acid battery. It means that there is a lot of companies, service centers all around the world who are capable to come and recycle the lead inside. The acid can be replaced by you. It's very easy. Each cell can be removed separately. Then if you have electrician, there is a special, or it's like very common device that you can buy anywhere in the world. You can measure the volts of the cells. You can measure also the level of the lead, also of the acid. Here you can see small floats that are showing you the capacity, or if the battery is filled with the distilled water. So the process how to repair or maintain the battery is quite simple. There is 48 cells. It doesn't mean that it's a whole battery and you have to throw out the whole battery. You have to always, or you can always come back. You can always check each cell, and you can replace the wrong cell, put there a new cell, program it back, which is also very easy. A lot of electricians can do it. For 96 volt, they are prepared for it, and you can work again. So it's very easy to maintain the battery, to recover the battery, and to take care of the battery. Also, the lead is a commodity. It means that you can always bring the lead to resell, and they will give you some money back, or they can just refill the cell with the lead, and they will just deduct the price of the lead you brought.
Excellent. So I'm seeing just going through the list of questions here that we're still very similar questions that are very standard, ladies and gentlemen. These are the regular questions that we get. What I can tell you is there's many similar concerns with regards to temperature operations, humidity operations. I did see one about salt and corrosion. Just to answer that question quickly for you, Elise is built to the same standards as all of our competitors when it comes to paint finishes and so on. Are they corrosion resistant? No, they're not. The corrosion resistance is a very expensive process. If you want a machine to be corrosion resistant, it can be done. There is a significant cost associated with that. So these are questions that we're getting a lot from Holland at the moment with the ports. And there are generally a couple of ways through that. The manufacturer can modify the machine, or many customers in the ports of Holland, they use specialized third-party aftermarket specialists who'll modify existing companies' machines. But to give you an idea of the cost of that, it's quite common for that to almost double the cost of the machine. So when you factor in all of these associated costs, these have become far more specialized machines. So as standard machines, they're built to the same standards as a Bobcat or a Doosan or anything like that.
I will come maybe back to the running temperatures of the batteries, and I will affect it. I just asked our engineer who is making the batteries and connecting the batteries. He told me that if there is 50 plus degrees Celsius, it's fine. It's totally fine for the battery because the electrolyte is still keeping warm. It's warm. It's not affecting the lifetime or anything of the battery. If you have minus 25 Celsius, as it was asked, you have to. If you take the battery from inside, it's in machine, like in this hole, and you go outside, there is minus 25. Already the electrolyte is warm up. It means you are not losing any energy of the battery. The same with the charger. If you keep the battery outside with the charger in minus 25, it will always keep warm the electrolyte, so you still will have 100% of the capacity of the battery. The other thing is, if you leave the machine or of the battery outside without charging or connecting to the charger, then the battery level or the capacity will drop down to 60%. But if you start working or if you connect it to the charger, it will warm up the electrolyte and you will regain 100%. So it's always important to have warm batteries. It's always important to have the battery connected to the charger before you go to work. It's very important. It's repairing the battery, it's keeping warm the electrolyte, and it's cleaning the battery.
I just have a question regarding attachments. Elise uses a standard skid steer attachment, SAE standard. So as long as any other manufacturers are using that standard, which for the majority of their attachments they do, for skid steer, you can use it on our machine. That doesn't swap over to MiniZ. There is no standard for this level of machine. We use a very similar quick coupler for both machines, but there is no actual standard dimensions and widths for this level of machine. So at the moment, until they make a standard, you can only use KOVACO attachments, or if you're using a Sherpa, you can only use Sherpa attachments. It goes both ways until they develop a standard.
You can see here, as Nicholas mentioned. It's very easy, very simple. It was designed specially for MiniZ, and we took almost the same attack system from the Elise to MiniZ and just adapted it to smaller attachments. Here you can see the standard bucket for MiniZ, and we have also grapple bucket, we have boom, sweeper, hammer, and so on. So it really depends what you choose. Only with the boom, sweeper, snowblower, you always need to have electric attachment for MiniZ, because MiniZ doesn't have that high flow to power hydraulic attachment. So that's the only issue. But if you choose the grapple bucket, you can take the hydraulics from the MiniZ and you can power it. With the Elise, after the software upgrade, where we increased the power by 25% for the drive and hydraulics, now you can use all hydraulic attachments that you have. Only you can't use forestry mulcher or some attachments that require high flow. For these attachments you need special electric adapter and our electric attachments, and then you can use electric power from the battery. It will also save you some energy. Maybe another thing to mention, for the cold and warm weather, there is heating, and we have also option of the AC. The consumption of the energy is quite low. With the AC it's 0.7 kilowatts, with the heating it's almost the same. So it means if you keep it running on full speed, it will draw down each hour 0.7 kilowatts from your battery. If you have a 40 kilowatt battery, you can count how many hours you can work with heating or AC running.
Patrick, we have a question with regards to backing plates as adapters for other attachments. We're able to produce backing plates in these situations.
For MiniZ, yes.
And for Elise, I believe.
Yeah, but for Elise.
Sorry, just Mr. Hemming. Mr. Hemming, that's your question in particular. You're referring to Elise?
Yes, I'm referring to Elise. We've got a situation at the moment. We've got a client that's eager to buy one, and he wants an adapter plate to go to attach to his New Holland equipment. You're going to be on a back foot if we can't. I know it's your back plate attachment system is like the Bobcat, but there are other skid steers that we're open to compete against, and we need a solution.
Yes. So it can be always done. It doesn't need to be especially by us. Maybe New Holland can do it also. I think there are some adapter.
But if you don't
plate.
mind me saying, New Holland wouldn't do it, because at the end of the day, we're trying to replace their New Holland machine with the KOVACO. These adapter plates need to be readily available.
We need to see what kind of plates it is, how they are looking. We can design them. We can put some pricing on it. But the thing is, if we add another plate or anything here, it will increase the distance of the load from the machine. So also the tilting point will be a little bit more distance. Even 5 centimeters or few inches make a big difference if you are tilting big load. So then it will be recalculated. The ROC will be recalculated, and you have to tell the customer that probably he will lose several 10 or maybe 100 kilograms from the lifting capacity. From the big Elise and small Elise the same. I'm not sure.
That's totally understood, but it might be a case to actually look a little bit further than that, to actually make it so that you can remove your plate to put in a plate that's suitable for the attachment, because we know within the excavator world plates are available, and yes, it does alter the geometry, but it's an important thing if we're going to compete against other suppliers. If they've got a full range of equipment that's costing tens of thousands of pounds, we need to be able to attach the Elise onto their piece of equipment.
This is something that probably we are not able to change that soon, because everything is designed for Euro Quick Attack system that is universal and it's by norms. I know that there are several companies like New Holland that might have different. We can do only the plates for them, some adapters. We will always recommend to use our attachments to sell them and to use them. I know what you are trying to point out, and it's very difficult to change the manufacturing process for some other plates, and as you can see, it's not that easy, and it will take more time and it will be more expensive. Maybe we can do it if there will be larger volume order, and we can put different pricing on it, because it's also a different kind of plate for attachment.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Hemming, I think that's a more technical question in terms of how we would go forward as a strategy as a company as well. That would probably have to be looked at on a higher level than this discussion at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
For sure.
I appreciate
yeah, not a problem.
The answer one.
Yeah, it's always difficult when there's different standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a couple of other questions regarding MiniZ. This is one that actually comes up fairly regularly, which is the operation of MiniZ, if it can be operated any other way but the remote control. The answer to that is no. It's designed to be operated by remote control, but the actual unit itself attaches to the machine, so it effectively becomes an on-use controller on the machine that you can remove, and you get 50 to 60 meters of strong radio connection to control it. I don't know why you'd need as much as that in most cases, but that's how you control MiniZ. It doesn't have any other way to be controlled. And yes, you can stand on the back of the MiniZ, Dan. Thanks for the question. It's just got a plate around the back which is attached. It comes off and it slides in, and you can use it as a ride-on. And Mr. Wieslander has a question regarding to fitting the skid steer with 2 different cylinders. I'm assuming you're talking about the hydraulic cylinders?
Yes.
Is that correct, Mr. Wieslander? Not sure, but I think you can hear me, but you might have your microphone off. Yes, okay. Patrick, do you want to just explain that, the cylinder operation again?
So the cylinder operation, or the changing of the cylinders, this idea came from US, where we had several experiences with the farmers or smaller individuals that they were using at least for feeding the animals or just moving some stuff around. So they told us they need higher speed of the lifting of the boom, and also they need the flipping of the bucket and so on. So we came with the small cylinders which are consuming less hydraulic oil fluid, and you can have smaller one which are strong enough. They are like standard size, like with the Bobcat, Caterpillar or other. But then you can have also the bigger one which are much thinner, and you can you can use them, or we can switch them into production. It can be done later on also, because the cylinders are made here in Slovakia in our factory, and they are most of the time, if you want the bigger one, we recommend them to use them in demolition construction, or if you have large volume bucket or something and you know that you will be pushing some hard obstacles in front of you, or you will be lifting something very 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 hard.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Milan, I think that answers your question there in terms of the construction. The original cylinders for the machine were, which are still available, they were over-engineered, if you want, so to speak. But that did slow down the operation for certain industries. So I hope that answers the question. And it's, as Patrick said, it's always something that can be changed aftermarket as well. So that's I hope that answers the question there. Okay. Mr. Ewan, yeah, I can't really answer that question as to regards to the motor controllers inside the chassis. I don't think this is with regards, Patrick, to the waterproofing of the Elise.
Mhm.
It wasn't really designed to be a waterproof machine to be immersed constantly in water. Anybody that's done any work with waterproofing will know how hard that is. It's a very tricky job. So I can't exactly answer that question, but probably because it was a good place to put the controllers at that point, simply because we weren't trying to make a machine that could operate submersed in water. Having said that, there is an option that we're looking at to provide a more water-resistant or waterproof machine. But once again, these are all things that add significant cost to machines and are fairly specialized for certain industries. It wouldn't be something that you would necessarily build as a production model that would suit everybody. They just won't need it. We have a question with regards to mud ingress, how much mud gets into the chassis of the machine. I don't have specific answer for that one, and I suppose it would also depend a lot on the mud, the type of mud.
Here in the front of the machine, there are open right now, no, and that's because this is a air cooling for the motors. Yeah, so it's passive cooling of the motors in front for the electric motors. So yes, you can get maybe some mud inside, but as I mentioned, the motors and the battery can be cleaned by the hose or just very easy running water, so you can easily clean it. It's even easier than with the diesel one because it doesn't affect the body. And you saw the machine is designed, it's flat inside, so the water will go out.
And one question that's been asked a couple of times as well, Patrick, sorry, we'll try to keep this as brief as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Experience in tunnels from Mr. Milan, thank you, sir. I'm assuming you're referring to mining.
We don't have any experiences for right now.
We haven't got any mining experience at the moment. We do have interest from Pilbara Group in Western Australia who want to electrify their fleet. Obviously, it's a no-brainer to put electric equipment in mines. There are, however, other concerns. It's another very hazardous environment where the machines would probably want to be beefed up like in ports. Once again, adding fairly significant cost to any machine, be it diesel or electric. And then, of course, there's ATEX certification for explosiveness, which we currently don't have. It's a very expensive process, which we're looking at providing now, which may also be an issue with mines. We do have some tunnel experience in Spain of building the tunnel.
So we don't have the certification, but it differs from country to country. For I know that several countries, they don't require something like it. It depends. Probably in Australia, the same like in Dutch or in Benelux. So it's very different and differs.
The European certifications are always a lot stricter than many other places.
The same with
the
homologization. In US, they don't need homologization as we do here in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but for example, for Spain, it's not necessary as well, and they're using it in demolition sector. So there is no problem with this kind of issue. So
I think it really does depend on the end user and whether or not they want to spend another 30,000 euros modifying the machines for that kind of work. Some do, some don't. I really think it depends on the end user, but these are all exactly the same issues faced by looking at a John Deere or a Doosan. They're built to the same specifications, and end users that require very specific modifications for the industries, the ones that desire to do that or are legislated to do that, will generally go to third-party suppliers that make the modifications there and then. They really are quite specialist. We did have one question with regarding to farmers not being able to use this. I'm not exactly sure why that would be. We have used Elise on numerous agriculture and farm locations. So there's no issues at all on a farm unless you have a specific task. I'm not sure, that was from Mr. Simisar. Perhaps we could. I'm not sure why you would think that it can't be used on a farm. Perhaps for water. Perhaps if you're talking about going into water and so on. Oh, this is a very good one, which should be one of the last questions, and then I think I'll go through the list and we can make sure that everything has been answered to satisfaction, because they're all very valid comments. But there is one on regards to what happens when the machine runs out of power and you're somewhere off location, away from charging. How that can be managed. You will get plenty of warning before the machine runs out of power. And I'll let Patrick explain that.
Yes. You will feel it on the power. If you reach under 20-25% of the battery, you will lose some power from the motors. You will feel it on the drive, you will feel it on the hydraulics. And that's because it's emergency mode that will try to save as much as possible energy for you to travel, come back, and to again recharge the Elise. The machine will stop. It's like with the fuel. You run out of the fuel, you can't go on. It won't affect that much the machine. You can always recharge from external sources. You can bring the Ivan charge a single phase or three phase, and you can charge from external sources. You can just leave the machine, put on trailer, bring it back, and you are still capable or able to move some of the machine, and you will still have some small energy. There is, like with the cars or other battery powered machines, you still have some energy left. Even though it's saying you that you are out of energy, there is just a little energy left, so you can always little bit manipulate with the machine. If you have standard battery and you have other machines or any attachments or pallet forks, you can just replace the battery, bring it home, recharge it. So it really depends. But that's why we have these emergency signals and showing you, and you will feel it that you are losing the energy, and you should probably recharge the battery.
Thanks, Patrick. Mr. Simhauser, the wet surfaces is no problem. We're talking about full immersion underwater. Protracted long periods of underwater immersion. It's not designed to do that. That you can't do.
The rain,
mud and rain and hosing and none of that. It's perfectly at home in a farm environment. Just don't drive it into any water reservoirs. It's not going to play well with that. And just the lifting points, if you may, if you could just point them out, Patrick.
Yes.
For hoisting.
We will show you. We prepared the hooks because that was a topic, because we know that some of you are doing demolition in the city center. So there are 4 places where you can hook the machine. Here is the first one. You have always logo the hook. This is standardized, so it's really fixed there. It's really difficult to get rid of it, and this is in front. But as you saw, and you've probably figured out, the most of the weight is in the back of the machine, so that's why here are more strong and more robust hook plates. There are these stickers. They are showing you where you can hook the machine. So if somebody prefers the chain, they can do chain here, but always the standards in Europe and all over the world, there is a suggestion to use the hooks, because they have locks and they are more safer.
Excellent. Thanks, Patrick. I'm sorry if I've missed any questions there which we haven't really covered at the moment. I do apologize. The questions go very quickly. There's quite a few of them. I assure you we will answer them all after the meeting for you. We'll get back to you and we can talk in more specifics with regards to some of the questions for you. I think we've probably covered everything we need to at the moment in terms of the presentation.
Yeah, maybe if there is any question that if you or somebody wants to show something that we need to show physically, then it's a good time to ask, because then, as Nicolas said, we can talk later on, but we want to have the ability or capability to show you something in person and to film it and then record it and send it back to you. So now is the good time.
There was a question about showing a attachment being fitted. I don't know if we have an attachment
yes, but right now we are
available.
Yes, we have, but in other hall, and there is plenty of them. But yeah, we have only our old one running outside with the attachment. So right now we can't. Maybe later on we can make some footage or some video for other people and show them how to attach the attachments and how it's working with the attachment looking.
Excellent. Yep. So I'm sorry. As you can see, a lot of those machines are ready to be put into the containers and shipped, I think, to the US. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep. Yep. And John, chaining down to a trailer for shipping.
Yes, that can be done.
Yes. The down ties. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Is that? I believe that's what you're referring to.
Yes, that can be done. Most of the time you have a bucket. Bucket has a special points where you can hook it, and then you can use these points or that here at the back. You don't need to have many points, or you can use also here in the front. It's really up to you, but we have several points by which you can chain or use the hooks or other things to fix the machine on the trailer. Also, the machine has emergency brakes. They are activated when the machine stops and it's turned off. So also the wheels are blocked and the machine shouldn't move.
And then we have just a question about from Mr. Milan. Yes, it can, sir. It can be equipped with air conditioning.
Yes.
And that's fitted to the rear of the cab.
The place where was heating, the heating is replaced with the AC. All machines are there is inbuilt heating. On first two stages you have only circulating air inside, fresh air from outside. So if you are outside somewhere, you don't like AC, you can just circulate the air inside. You can open the windows, and the third level is for the heating, where the heating is coming very fast and strong, and it's very nice.
Mr. Stanley, you're just asking if the machine will roll when it's off. No, it won't, so the emergency brake activates
Yes.
when it's off. Right. Okay, I think I'm not getting any more questions just at the moment. Is it a fan or real AC? It's a real AC, Mr. Milan. It's an option.
Yes.
The standard comes with a fan and heater, the standard spec. And if you need air conditioning, if you're in an environment where it needs air conditioning, then it is actual proper air conditioning. And yes, the emergency brake can be disconnected if the battery is dead,
Yes.
if it needs to be pulled up onto a flatbed, or not a problem, that all can be done.
Also, maybe other thing when we are talking about emergency brake, the bottom of the machine is flat, so it means it's very easy for you just to use any other equipment with the pallet forks, and you can just lift it. Also, it's great advantage because if you hit some stones or anything in demolition, there is nothing to be destroyed under the body. We had several questions regarding this because several diesel machines, they have connected machine at the bottom. We don't. It's completely flat.
Did you go over the connection point for the hydraulic hoses, the lever system that we have developed?
Yes, here it is prepared. This is pre-built, and if there is demand for it and these machines are ready for it, it will be added, and then it's very easy to connect the hoses for the hydraulics only with easy pull, as I mentioned.
Okay. And just one last question is the lifespan of the rubber drive belt.
Mm-hmm.
Does it need adjusting, or
No.
is it self-adjusting, is the question?
So, as I mentioned, we use only 120 Newton meters. So, and the belt is designed for 500. So it doesn't need to be adjusted. And we have only one gear. That's why the rubber tooth belt should last 6 to 8 years. It depends on the hour usage and also how you treat the machine. But as I mentioned, it's very easy to replace, it's very cheap to replace, and it can be done just by you as dealers easily.
And I think it's worth mentioning on the test, Elise, outside, 3,000 plus hours on there. It hasn't 4,000 plus hours on the test machine.
First model that we ever made. Like, we ran it, we just changed the gearboxes because they were changed, and it has 4 years and 4,000 hours. And it's running here in our factory, whereas during the winter we have minus 20 sometime. During the summer there is plus 35 up to 40.
Yeah, it's it's not babied. I don't know if we're able to turn around and see it if it's visible, but it's being used.
Yeah, I can show you. Yeah, we can show you.
Is it visible? This is the first generation of police. I don't know if we can see it or not. But I personally have seen it, and it's used on a daily basis to do all sorts of work, concrete laying, slabs, earth moving. It's also used as a test machine for complete skid steer novices like me to tilt back up on its bucket up to, what was it, 45, 50 degrees?
Yes.
It's terrifying. Yeah, it gets banged around a lot, and the belts have never been changed. And as Patrick mentioned, they are a very easy change, and they are a very economical change as well. There's no gears to worry about, no cogs. It's just a belt. A quick answer: no, it's not possible to have wheels on the MiniZ. It's tracked only, and the tracks on the Elise are over the wheel tracks. Sorry, Patrick, I'll just answer these ones quickly.
Yeah, sure.
So we've gone over them. Yeah, they're over the wheel tracks, which provides lots of advantages as well. And if you do have a track breakage, you can still use the machine. You still have the four-wheel drive system and the wheels in place. Question that I'm not competent to answer is with regards to hydraulic oil. Which types of hydraulic oil can be used?
It is in operator.
I have a couple.
It is in operator manual, so you have to check there. I am also not sure, and if there is any, because we had some like for biohydraulic oils and so on. If you want to change them, you have to first send us what kind of oil you want to use, and we will approve if it can be used. Because we use the Danfoss hydraulics, as I mentioned, so we are always communicating with our suppliers, so the warranty will stand, and also the machine will behave as it is supposed. Here you can see, if the camera turns. Here you will see the first machine that is running 4 years, 4,000 hours, and we are testing everything on it.
There we are. Yep.
As you can see, there is the hinge pin height 3.6 meters, so 8-wheel truck can be loaded easily. Also, it's great. Dvihni, ešte náklon. Naopak. As you can see, great stability.
This is the little party trick that you get the opportunity to visit our site in Slovakia when the travel restrictions are eased. They'll get you to do, and it's terrifying. It looks better than it actually is. It's terrifying when you're sitting in there. Not a lot of fun. But it shows you the ease of operation of the machine as well, which is a topic we haven't spoken about. It may or may not be important to some people. I am not a professional skid steer operator. I don't profess to be. But I can tell you that 40, 50 seconds in the machine, and you can operate it competently. You will not operate it like a professional, because those are skills that are learned after many years. But in terms of the core basic operation of a skid steer, you don't have to worry about revs for your hydraulics. You don't have to worry about power and utilizing foot pedals and so on and so forth. You can literally put a 10-year-old in this and they could use it. It's that easy. That's something that we haven't actually spoken about in the presentation. It is a definite advantage over traditional diesel machines. I'm sorry, I just... wheel wash units, that's a very good question, Mr. Coleman. That is something that I don't think will affect the unit at all. I'm assuming you're talking about the washing bays on the external exits of building sites.
Yes.
If that's correct. Yeah.
That
It should have no problem as long as they're not super deep. Is that correct, Patrick?
That's correct. If you use hose or any external thing to clean the machine, it's totally fine.
There's not a problem. When we talk about the water ingress in the machine and so on, it's not a box of tissues. It can handle pretty much whatever you throw about it. What it won't do is it's not rated to operate immersed in water. I think that's probably the best way to explain it. You won't be crossing rivers in it, and you won't be working in flooded environments. It's not designed to do that as it stands at the moment, but it does have the capability to have modifications. It's not something that is set to go tomorrow, but obviously, as we mentioned before, these are options that could be done, but they wouldn't be cheap. And I think that's really what it boils down to, that at the end of the day, a lot of applications just simply don't need those capabilities. So for the ones that do, it tends to be more specialist work done aftermarket. But wheel wash units, not a problem. A lot more questions on the oil. Thanks, Mr. Jan. As Patrick said, it's a Danfoss hydraulic system, so we do what they recommend. So any oils that you want to use for different temperatures and different environments, it would just require checking with us or the Danfoss manufacturers as well, just to make sure that these oils can be used in the hydraulics. So it'd be, I've got the specifics there of what you're using at different temperatures, so we can look at that and give you a better answer on that one, a more specific answer at a later time. Voltage output of the batteries, Patrick, and also where the electric cables, fuses, and controllers are mounted on both machines.
So yes. So the fuses are behind.
Late arrival.
That's fine. We can show you. The fuses are inside of the cabin. They are behind the operator seat. Here is the small fuse box. You can just open it and you can have access to it. And with the batteries, they are 96 volts. Like a whole machine is 96 volt. All connectors, everything is designed for 96 volt, and that's basically all. It's very simple, it's very easy. Also, like as I mentioned, NEMA 160 connector, it can be bought in US, in Latin America, in Europe, Asia, Australia. It's universal, you can order it online, or we can deliver. The fuses are also standardized, nothing special. We try to make everything very simple, that everybody in the world can operate and repair and maintain the machine.
So I think that maybe, yep. Thanks, Mr. Wielander. I think that, and I do apologize if the presentation is a little bit clunky at times. It's challenging with 5 people, but when we have, I think over 60 people now, it's a challenge. And I know I really do appreciate your patience with everything. The COVID situation has made things incredibly difficult for companies around the world to show their products to their customers. So I hope you've learned a little bit more about the machines and the technology, and we very much look forward to discussing further with you any specifics, any questions. I'm sure you're going to have hundreds more questions relating to your specific industries and needs and customers. So I think at this point, we're almost 2 hours in. We can probably leave it with that. And as I mentioned, we'll go through the questions and make sure that everybody has the answers in paper and you get all the answers that you need. So thank you, Patrick.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Nicholas, thank you for helping me again. Please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them. And we are here for you 24/7. We are trying to help you, and we are not trying to sell something we don't believe to. Elise is something like child for everybody here, and we very trust in this machine, and it's great machine. I hope that you would like it the same as we do. Thank you.